Hello, welcome back to my library. I'm Barbara. I thought I would talk about the books that I've read so far in 2026, since we're about halfway through the year. Some of these I think I did read in 2025. I don't remember. If I do believe it was actually in 2025, it would have been at the end of the year, and I will let you know. I don't know. I mean, is the booktube police gonna come after me? Probably not. No particular order. I just have them stacked here, and we're gonna do this quickly. Quick video. And right on the top, we have Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. As you can see, I tabbed so much in this. I'm really sad because this was in the Mind of Men reading theme. I've lost all the footage to that, and I talked about this in length, in depth. This is my first James Baldwin, and I really enjoyed this. If you know anything about James Baldwin, he lived in Paris. This book is set in Paris, France, and I really feel like he just sat back in a cafe and watched all the closeted white American men come through Paris, and this is just an observing how they acted. It was a great character study. I don't know if I'm using that correctly, but it sounds right, feels right. I hated the main character, David. He was the problem. He is awful. There's a lot of French in this, so I did have to look up a lot of French phrasing, which I think is good for me. It did give me a couple extra brain wrinkles for sure. If you haven't read Giovanni's Room, I think it's a classic for a reason. Like, it's very, very good, and I really enjoyed it. Next up is Pet by Aweke Emizi. Follows a young trans girl. Jam is the main character's name. Her mother is an artist, and she finishes a painting, makes the creature from her mother's painting come to life, and tells her that they're hunting monsters. Things ensued. It's a very short book. There's another book based on the mother's experience, which I would love to read, called Bitter. I really enjoyed Aweke's writing. I thought this was done so well. I loved how they handled a young trans character. Jam also is nonverbal and uses sign to communicate, and the way that the community and their friends and family advocate for her and accommodate her in that, because even though Jam can speak, sometimes they choose not to. It's just very wholesome and relatable to me as somebody who didn't speak until they were about 3 years old and would have loved for an option outside of speaking growing up for sure. As I have a YouTube channel and I just yap. But I am quite a nonverbal person, and sometimes it'd be nice to be able to have an alternative way of communication. I just really enjoyed this, and I do definitely want to read the rest in this series. There are some heavy themes in this. I think they handled the themes very well, but they might be triggering for people who dealt with such things. So definitely look into your trigger warnings, but I think this was very good and I really enjoyed it. It's a book I think about quite often, as well as Giovanni's Room. Next up is Immortal Dark by Tigis Germa. I bought this on a whim. It was dark academia, black vampires. I said, sure, want to support a black author. It was way too long, but also just wild. I can't believe this is a trilogy. There was so much going on with this. I didn't like the age gap in it. There were things that the main character did that just didn't make any sense. But the writing was good. The writing was good good enough for me to like force through the book, but I was laughing the whole way through. It was very unserious. It reminded me a lot of like Buffy Angel kind of vibes. And I don't think that Tigis is a bad writer. I think that this is a bad book. I think that they did their best. I think they had a lot of ideas and they tried to jam it all into one thing, and it could have done with an edit. It could have done with some good friends saying, hey girl, maybe don't. People say this is a dark romance. I don't know where the romance happened. One minute they hated each other, the next minute they tolerated each other. Apparently people like the smut in this. Oh my God. I don't even remember if there was smut. Was there smutty scenes, spicy scenes in this? I definitely read all the pages. I was surprised to hear that people found this hot and steamy. There was one scene for sure that was definitely maybe a little spicy, but I don't even think they had like relations. A lot of this, what I guess would be considered a spicy scene, I'd be like, well, he's a vampire and like he has to feed, and like different body parts brought up different, like there was a reason for him to be biting there. If you're curious about this, get it from the library. Borrow it from a friend. I don't think it's worth your hard-earned money. Wait till you find it secondhand. I don't know. I won't be buying the second one. I will definitely buy other books from this author because I thought they were a good writer, and that's what kept me interested. I thought the writing was good, but the plot, no. Next up is I Who Have Never Known Man by Jacqueline Hartman. I might have read this at the end of the year, 2025, but I did love this book. It lives in my brain rent free. I talk about it all the time. I tabbed it to death. The ending was perfect. I related wholeheartedly with the main character, and I loved it. I loved this book. I know this book isn't for everybody, and I've seen people criticize this book, saying it's just a bunch of walking around and wandering, but I was like, but you read The Hobbit. So next up is the book I'm currently reading, which is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I am not even a quarter into this. I've been reading it since May. I am enjoying it. I'm not a fantasy person. I don't typically read fantasy. I think it's very gripping. When I do sit down to read it, I'm hooked, I'm interested, I'm invested. But getting to the point of reading has been really difficult. I've been going through a huge reading slump. I believe it's a trilogy. I see myself being interested enough to read the other two books. So we'll see. I am currently struggling right now, but we're gonna power through. Next up is James by Percival Everett. I think I hyped this up too much for myself. I did read it. I did enjoy it. And I do recommend it to people. I think it was an interesting book. I think it was an interesting retelling of the Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer from the perspective of Jim, which I think was an interesting idea. I don't know that it was executed as well as it could have been. There's some things, if you eat my plant, so help me. The ending to me was a choice that I would not have made. It really took me out of it. It didn't live up to the hype, and that's disappointing. I mean, I do think it's worth picking up. I think if you were interested in this, you should pick it up. I'm interested to read his book Trees. I've heard a lot of good things about that. So, and the writing was good. There was a lot of choices that I just would not have made. It was giving like Black elitists to me. Like we're different from them. There's those blacks and there's us blacks, you know, and we're the good one. Like that's kind of that left a bad taste in my mouth. I think this would bring up a lot of discussion. Like I would be interested to be in like a black reading group and see how other people felt about it. I think it would garner a lot of conversation, which I think is the point. Next is Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. I love this cover. So stunning. This book is about a trans boy named Benji living in a post-apocalyptic world who just left a religious cult. I related to this book so much. I grew up in the Assemblies of God cult. This was written by somebody who also grew up in such a situation as a religious organization. I related to so many parts of this. Also, I'm non-binary, so I related a lot to like how you should present in church and how you should act as a girl. Like this is how you should be, and just feeling really separate from that. Not in the same way that Benji does, because I am not dysphoric about my body. Like I don't feel bad in a dress, but definitely with the roles of gender I struggle with. Also, there's an autistic character, Nick, that I thought was written very well and relatable. I do think I'm a bit too old for this, but it is a YA. I definitely want my niece and nephew to read this once they're a bit older. I wish the gore scenes were a bit better. I thought that it was a little confusing at times of what I'm supposed to be looking at. I did watch a video where somebody was like, it was like they were ticking off a woke checklist, and I did feel that as well. But I think for the audience, it's kind of necessary to make sure that everyone's included in this, so I'm not going to hold it against Mr. White. I am interested to read the other books, especially I do want to read The Spirit Bears Teeth, and then there's another one about pregnancy horror. I cannot remember the title of it, but I definitely want to read that because I am terrified of pregnancy, and I think that would be an interesting read for me. Next is a book that I DNF'd. The Creative Act, A Way of Being by Rick Rubin. I think this is for people who have never been creative a day in their life, that has never just did something for the whimsy, for the vibes. This is written for like a corporate financial bro. The last art class I took was in junior high. Maybe this is a book you just pick up and read at random. Like you just pick a random page and read and then take inspiration from, which, you know, Rick does say you should do. I do love the cover of this, the aesthetic, the fabric, hardback, so I'm going to keep this book. I should have known better, and I got. That's basically it. That is all the books that I have read thus far in 2026. late 2025. You know, that's not a lot of books because most people on BookTuber are like, I read 150 books in the last 2 months and I'm going to tell you my favorites. And I'm a slow reader and that's okay. Yeah, that's all that I've read in 2026 and 2025. And I enjoyed most of them. Just some books I just wouldn't recommend to other people. I would not. I mean, Immortal Dark, if you want to just have a silly, goofy time, like you want to have a silly, goofy time over some dark themes, that's it. I'm gonna go. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here. Please like, comment, and subscribe so I can quit my 9 to 5. I would so appreciate that. Let me know if you read any of these books. If you agree with me, let me know. I would love to know. Recommend any books. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.